us Her Excellency Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia, Minister Sri Mulyani, and His Excellency Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Minister Budi Gunadi Sadikin. As we all know, today, Tuesday, 21st of June, 2022, the first G20 Joint Finance and Health Ministerial meeting was in place. Without further ado, I would like to invite Her Excellency Minister Sri Mulyani to say a few words, giving a brief summary of the discussion in the Joint Finance and Health Ministerial meeting this evening. Minister Sri Mulyani, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Very late evening to all of you here in Jakarta, Yogyakarta. We just have a meeting, the joint ministerial meeting between Minister of Health and Minister of Finance for the G20. And this is the one of the most important topic under the G20 presidency of Indonesia. And our meeting conducted in a hybrid with all participants within the G20 international organization and invitees, members as well as non-members. As you know that the discussion today between the joint health and finance ministers is actually achieving a very important progress. That is the joint finance and health task force, which is already established under the presidency before Italy. They've already delivered 2 reports under the WHO and World Bank jointly working to address the issue of first financing gap for the world to be able to better prepare for the next pandemic. So pandemic preparedness, prevention and response, especially on the financial intermediary fund, which is established or recommended and now is being established under and hosted by the bank, the World Bank. And we also discussed about developing finance and health coordination arrangement for pandemic preparedness, prevention and response. Our discussion today, which is discussing about the FIF, as well as how the platform joint between health and finance should and could be continue, maintain and develop in order for us to be able, the G20 as well as the world, be able to have a better pandemic preparedness, prevention and response. The discussion that we have tonight or today is going to be used for us, the finance minister meeting, as well as central bank governors meeting next month in Bali. And then it will then again will be follow up by our next, the second joint health as well as finance minister meeting just before the leaders summit in November. You are all following the G20 leaders back in October 2021, which already agreed that financing for pandemic preparedness that need to be continuous built adequately and a more sustainable level to be able to also creating and exploring new financing mechanism. So what we are discussing today and what we also delivered today is actually a deliverable or follow-up of what our leaders on the G20 leaders, which is already agreed last October in Rome. We are also in this case creating a financing or coordination platform between finance and health that can also provide a valuable mechanism on how we are going to address the issue of pandemic and how we are going to be able to allocate the financing resources that will be mobilized within this financing mechanism. So this is going to be an ongoing discussion, and I'm sure that many feedback and discussion which is already provided today will be able to continue shaping this financing intermediary fund, which is housed at the World Bank, And we also both, Pak Budi and I, will continue trying to get as much as possible support from more and more country as well as international organization and even philanthropy in order for them to be able to contribute on the financing side. So I will pass to Pak Budi. Silakan Pak Budi.
Thank you, Bu Ani. So, my friends, you remember, right, that our president have three agendas for G20. First is health architecture, global health architecture, digital economy, and energy transitions. So this one is under the first agenda. On this first agenda, and he wants also a concrete deliverables. We have 5 objectives or concrete deliverables. The first one is to establish this fund or FIF, the sources of fund. Second one, we'd like to formalize the uses of fund, because money is half the solutions for health crisis. We need to translate this money into access for vaccine, medicine, and diagnostic tools. The third objective, we would like to link the international labs for genome sequence, because we would like to have the capability to identify the pathogen, virus, bacteria, or parasite that might appear everywhere in the world. Fourth objective, we would like to harmonize the global health protocol standard, because we understand we did in every pandemic, the normal policy response from the health sector is lockdown. But when you lock down, people cannot move. When the sailors and the pilot cannot move, then the goods will not be able to move. And then you will have not only health crisis, you will have economic crisis. And then it can translate into social or political crisis. So that's why it's very important for us, for the next pandemic, we prepare for the global health protocol. So movement of goods and people, especially the essential one, will be protected. And the fifth objective is we would like to expand the global hubs for research and manufacturing. So those are the 5 concrete deliverables on the health sector. And this meeting is talking about the first 2, the sources of fund, and thanks to the leadership of Ibu Sri Mulyani, the World Bank, WHO sit together, agree to establish the fund. 1 billion has been pledged, and we are aiming to reach the gap of 10 billion per annum gaps of financing. And now the second job will be a little bit more difficult, is to the uses of fund. So while we are finishing the source of fund, we're talking about the uses of fund, because the producers of those vaccine, therapeutics, diagnostic are private sector. So we need to talk to them. We need to engage to them. How can they maintain a certain volume commitment? How can then we will be able to distribute equally and very, very quickly if the next pandemic happens? So that will be the next discussion that we will have, and hopefully we will have time until October, where the second Finance and Health Minister meeting will be done, and then before the leaders meeting on November. So I stop here, and maybe we'll give more time for question and answer.
Thank you, Minister. We will now start the question and answer session. For our online participants, please type your questions into the chat and I will read them out. First question starts from.
Hello, this is Yu Yamazaki from Kyoto News, Japanese news agency. May I confirm the date of the establishment of the funds at the World Bank? Can we say it started on the 21st, or is it starting on the 22nd? And I would also like to know is there any update on the countries that's willing to donate more? I think the health minister just mentioned that in total it stays around 1 billion, but if there are any updates, other countries are willing to join, I would like to know. Thank you.
The FIF establishment is now being finalized, and as I said, also Pak Budi said, it is hosted in the bank, the World Bank, and within the process in the bank, meaning that they've already submit the paper for the establishment of this FIF, and I believe that the board of the bank will meet in June 30th. By that time, if it is approved by the board, then this FIF will then start to operate. When you're asking about the date, that is exactly maybe the date. And the 1.1 billion is a committed, which is already announced by several, what we call it, the founder of this FIF. This is, I believe, United States, European Union, Indonesia, and then Germany, Singapore, and Wellcome Trust. This is which is already confirmed, announcing the amount that they committed. Several other ministers, they are commit in terms of their contribution, but they are going to maybe need several processes. They're also asking several elements that need to be addressed. As I mentioned earlier, we've already taken note many of the feedback today, and there are many commonality in terms of their feedback. First is that it's need to be inclusive, so that it can also maintain and strengthening the platform collaboration between finance minister and health ministers, and between developed and developing countries. This is also not only talking or the governance and the decision as how to use these resources should not only dominated by the founder or the contributor, but also the recipient in this case. We also want to make sure that this is not competing with the resources which is already allocated for many other health initiatives. So expectation is going to be a new finance or resources, and the voice of developing country need to be also reflecting. And the most important, I think almost all members of the G20 as well as other stakeholder, they want to see the central role of WHO. I think these are all going to be an area that will be finalized in the design of this FIF. And again, it is going to be discussed by the board of the World Bank. And then we are going to work more on operationalization of this FIF. So we hope that other country which is already showing at least stating that they are supporting that the world should have a pandemic preparedness readiness, as well as supporting the idea that the financing institution or arrangement need to be established. They then can be contribute in a real and concrete way, and that's exactly what we are going to do in the next couple of months until the summit. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Ismira from NHK.
I would like to ask question to Pak Budi. Yesterday you mentioned about a country that will announce its pledge. You said yesterday it's the country that you visit last week. Is it Singapore?
Yes, 10 million US dollar.
Okay, so it's announced today at the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So that makes the total of 1.1 billion.
Let me 450 million US dollar US, 450 million US dollar European Union, so 900 million. Indonesia 50, 950. Germany 50 million euros, so 52.7 million, so 102, plus Wellcome Trust 10 million pounds, so 12.3 million, so 114, plus Singapore, so 1.124 billion US.
Okay, thank you, Pak.
Next question. Any more questions?
Thank you.
I think that will be
I think
all.
you all need a rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Your
you again
Excellencies.
for covering this meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.